Hey Astro Kids, and welcome back. This is your May 2020 horoscope for all signs. So first I'm going to go ahead and take a look at these major transits that will be happening here in May. This is a major time that we're coming into here in the month of May. We're having the nodes switch. We're having several retrogrades, so we're coming into this retrograde season where we have not been for the first part of this year here, as the only thing that we've really seen retrograde has been Mercury. So now we're coming into this intense retrograde season, which is building up to this eclipse season that we're going to see in June. So things are heating up, things are becoming way more intense here as we're starting to shift into this new space here in May. And so first thing that we're seeing here is on May 5th when the nodes switch spaces. So we are moving out of this North Node in Cancer, South Node in Capricorn, and now the nodes are shifting. We're having the North Node enter into Gemini, South Node in Sagittarius. And if you want to know more about that, go ahead and check out my previous video on the North Node in Gemini. But this is a major time of shifting and karmic lessons. We're seeing a lot that is moving and shifting in terms of what it is we need to release and let go of as a collective. And what are the lessons, what are the new challenges that we need to face, that we need to move towards in order to move into destiny. So this is a big shift that we are seeing here. We're moving out of this space of moving towards what is emotionally fulfilling and leaving behind the old structures and systems. And now we are finally in this new space of moving into the truth, into the knowledge, into the connection, and away from these old stories and belief systems. Now on May 7th, we have a full moon in Scorpio. So this is the completion point to this new moon that we've just entered into, which was in Taurus. And so at the end of April here, we have this new moon in Taurus, and this is starting off this brand new lunar cycle. So we're going to see that towards the end of April. But as we come into this space here now with this full moon in Scorpio on May 7th, this is a major completion point of this story of this new moon in Taurus, which was all about planting your seeds and planning ahead for the future. And it is coming here to this completion point of the full moon in Scorpio, which is this ultimate manifestation. And there will be a future video on the full moon in Scorpio to go more in depth. So make sure to keep a lookout for that. We're also going to see on May 11th, Saturn stations retrograde. So this is Saturn now retrograde in Aquarius. It's going to shift back in July into Capricorn. And so this space of Saturn and Capricorn that we have left behind, that we've moved on from, we're going to see it happen again in July. But this is the buildup here as Saturn stations retrograde for the first time in Aquarius, right? We haven't seen a Saturn retrograde in Aquarius for about 30 years now. This is a huge new space that we're in here with Saturn and Aquarius, this new world order, this new responsibility, this new authority, this new reality that we are in here that is focused on humanity, it's focused on all of us as a collective, is now stationing retrograde, where we need to review the things that we need to remain as an authority, as a responsibility, as a role to play in society. What does that look like for us? What is our authority? What is our role as a collective? This is a major review period for this. And yes, it will enter back into Capricorn, So this is a brief little period here where we are getting the sneak peek, the preview of what this new reality looks like. And we're not going to see Saturn come back into Aquarius until December, which will lead up to the great conjunction of Saturn and Jupiter in Aquarius on December 21st. So Saturn is doing big things here. There's a lot here that needs to be learned, a lot that needs to be addressed. And Saturn is here majorly affecting those of you with Leo or Aquarius, as this is a brand new energy here sitting in your 1st and 7th house. So a lot going on here in terms of your responsibility of being yourself and relating to others for those of you with Leo or Aquarius. And major relief for those of you with Cancer or Capricorn, that this is Saturn that has left from your 1st and 7th house. But remember that it will return and revisit before it finally goes back into Aquarius for its official station in Aquarius. Now on May 11th, we also see Mercury enter into Gemini. So Mercury is speeding up now. Remember that Mercury went through that long period where it was in retrograde and then in post-shadow, and it had to go all the way back through Pisces to about halfway from Aquarius. And so Mercury has spent a lot of time where it has been in this space of really feeling uncomfortable, really not understanding, really not getting the clear picture, not getting the true details, the true facts, the true information, as it has spent all of this time in Pisces. And it's now in Aries, getting ready to enter into Taurus here at the end of April. But this is a big moment for Mercury to finally enter into its home sign of Gemini, right? Mercury feels very comfortable here in Gemini. Mercury, remember, is this planet of logical thinking and communicating. So Mercury is concerned with the facts, the details, the information. And so as it comes into Gemini here, it is very much focused on what it wants, what it's truly looking for in Gemini. It is very much about communication. It's about the facts, the details, the information, things starting to become more logical, starting to make more sense. But remember that in June, we are going to see a Mercury retrograde in Cancer. And so this is a moment where, especially now here with Mercury and Gemini, make sure that you are paying attention to the details, the information. This is a major time of clarity before Mercury gets lost again in retrograde. So a lot that we have to review here in the summer coming up, with all of these retrogrades beginning to take place here. On the 13th, we have Mars enter into Pisces. So Mars is here in Pisces where it doesn't quite work as well, right? Mars is this masculine energy of force, of determination, of aggression, of anger, of passion, right? Mars wants a purpose. It wants something to do. But it's lost here in this dreamy world of Pisces where it has to imagine and hope and believe. And so Mars not quite working so well here in Pisces, right? This moment of Mars in Capricorn and its exaltation, Mars in Sagittarius and Mars in Aquarius, has really been that moment of needing to take action, needing to move forward, needing to push forward. And now as Mars comes into Pisces here, things are not going to feel as strong in terms of what you can do and what you can push forward and make happen in your life, as Mars gets very lost here in Pisces. And of course, Mars is getting ready for this retrograde that it will go through in September. And so this is the last moment really before Mars starts to enter into its shadow phase because remember that Mars retrogrades in its home sign of Aries. So this is a major moment here of starting to slow down, starting to listen to the universe, starting to hope and believe in what is possible, because this energy of trying to push things forward, trying to make things happen is really starting to slow down, starting to come to a halt, where it really is not a time of your aggression and your force really coming up with any sort of results here. Now, on the 13th, we also have Venus stationing retrograde, and this is a huge deal, right? This Mars retrograde, this Venus retrograde that we are going to see is a huge deal because these are personal planets that do not normally go retrograde, right? So this is a huge deal that we are having these retrogrades here in 2020. We didn't see them at all last year. And so this is Venus in retrograde in Gemini. Remember that the last time that Venus went retrograde in Gemini was in 2012. And so think back to that time of what was going on then. Were you in a breakup? Were you having relationship issues? Were you getting involved into a new relationship? What was going on back then in 2012? Because this retrograde is clearing that cycle out. And so coming into this Venus retrograde, many of you may enter into brand new relationships. For those of you who were single during the last Venus retrograde, some of you may be going through breakups, going through relationship difficulties here with this Venus retrograde. But this is a major review period for relationships of all kind. This is a major review period for those of you who are single, who are not looking to be in a relationship, to look at how can you love yourself? How can you express your creativity? Right? We are looking at love and relationships here with this major Venus retrograde cycle. This is a big review period to look at these relationships with yourself and with others and what it is that you need to work on in this area. Now, on May 14th, Jupiter will station retrograde. And so this is the biggest planet now stationing retrograde during this major retrograde season. And remember that the last time we saw Jupiter station retrograde was in Sagittarius, right? And this is Jupiter stationing retrograde in Capricorn. So Jupiter is not only in its weakest position here in Capricorn, but now it is going through this review period. It's going back for us to look over our vision, to look over what we have faith in, what we have hope in, what we believe in, what can take us forward, what does the journey look like for us. And so this is a major faith test, especially as Jupiter is sitting in Capricorn where it is weakened. And so already with this Jupiter in Capricorn, many of us are feeling hopeless. Many of us are feeling like we are losing our faith, like there isn't a bright future ahead of us as this big planet of luck and good fortune is at its weakest position here. And so this is a major time to look at, have you lost hope? Do you not have faith? What does your journey look like? What is your vision? What is your plan as Jupiter stations retrograde? On May 20th, the sun will enter into Gemini, so we are switching seasons. We're leaving behind this Taurus season of taking our time and planning things out and investing in things that are worthy and that are of value. And now we are speeding things up with this mental energy of Gemini, where it is time to communicate, it's time to think, it's time to learn, it's time to be social and interact with others. So this energy here is starting to pick up the pace. It's starting to speed up here as it shifts us into the summer season coming up. On the 22nd, we have a new moon in Gemini. So remember that the new moon is when the moon and the sun come together. So the moon has to catch up to the sun here in Gemini, and they will come into the exact same space, and we will have this new moon in Gemini. Now, what is interesting here is that we are not having a solar eclipse in Gemini. Remember that the nodes are now on the axis of Gemini and Sagittarius. And so typically we see the eclipses happen on the nodal axis, but this time we're not going to see a solar eclipse in Gemini. This is a normal new moon that we are experiencing here in Gemini, and there will be a future video coming up where I will go over this new moon with you. This is a major moment of stepping into something new. Remember that this North Node is in Gemini, and so this new moon is in the same sign of where destiny is calling for us to go, where the lessons, where the new experiences, the things that we have to face and learn in order to grow. And so this is a brand new lunar phase of learning about relationships, learning about communication, learning about new ideas, and being open to new lessons and new experiences. So we're going to see that majorly as we have this new moon here in Gemini. Now, last major transit here in May will happen on the 28th. And this is when Mercury enters into Cancer. So this is Mercury getting ready to enter into shadow very soon here. Remember that in June we're going to see Mercury retrograde in Cancer. And so Mercury is getting closer to this point where it will retrograde. So Mercury is starting to slow down here. And remember that when Mercury is in Cancer, we tend to be more emotional than rational, right? This is a time of really expressing your feelings. This is a time of thinking in a very sensitive, emotional way. This is a time of communicating for many of you with your family, with the people who you are closest to. And so communicating and thinking really shifts into this more emotional space as Mercury enters into Cancer. So again, a lot that is going on here. We're seeing this retrograde season come up. We're seeing the nodes switch, right? We're seeing all of this build up for this very intense summer that is coming up here. So we're going to go ahead and pull some cards for each of the 12 signs. And we're going to start off with Taurus, since we are entering into Taurus season here on the 19th. And Taurus will be the sign that will start off the month of May. So we're going to go ahead and start off for those of you who have Taurus, Sun, Moon, or Rising. I recommend that you are using your rising sign, but this may resonate with you if you are a Taurus, Sun, or Moon as well. So let's go ahead and pull some cards here. I am using the Connolly Tarot deck as well as the Black Moon Astrology deck. So for Taurus, Sun, Moon, or Rising for May 2020. Getting the Queen of Cups, so there's something definitely that we need to let go of here for those of you with Taurus, Sun, Moon, or Rising. We're refusing the new beginning here. There is a calling here, really, for those of you with Taurus, Sun, Moon, or Rising, to start fresh, to start something new, especially in terms of your finance and your career, in the way that you are creating this foundation, this security, this value, remember that there's a lot that's going to be going on in your second house for those of you with Taurus rising, right? We have the North Node entering into your second house. We have Mercury entering into your second house. We have the Sun. We're going to have a new moon in there, right? There's a lot going on here in this second house for those of you with Taurus, Sun, Moon, or Rising. We're also going to see that full moon happening in your first and seventh house, where there is going to be a major shift in terms of who you are and how you relate to others. So there's a lot going on here in terms of starting fresh, starting a new beginning. We have the Lovers card here, right? Many of you getting involved into new relationships or finding ways to be more creative within your relationships. But also there is a call here to think differently. There's a call here to be creative, to express your skills and your talents. And so this is really looking at, once again, starting something fresh, starting something new here. But we have to be willing to let go of the past feelings, for those of you with Taurus, Sun, Moon, or Rising. Let's see what this Black Moon astrology has to say. And then we will move on to Gemini, the second sign for the month of May. So for Taurus, Sun, Moon, or Rising for May 20. So we're getting part of Fortune in reverse. So again, you're denying yourself the ability to expand and to do something different here. You're denying yourself the ability to have a greater amount of finance, a greater amount of worth, of value in your life, right? There's a lot that can grow here. There's a lot that you can attain in your life by, once again, changing, for some of you, your values, for some of you, your finances, for some of you, your form of security. There is a change that needs to be made here. Sun is in reverse. So again, we talked about how there's a lot shifting in terms of your identity and the way that you are relating to others. And the Sun here dealing with the ego, dealing with the pride, the self-expression, right? And so there's a lot here in terms of needing to take a look at yourself and these major transformations and changes. Remember that full moon in Scorpio that's taking place in your first and seventh house. A lot of changes and transformations that need to take place in terms of who you are and how you are relating, connecting to others. So that was for Taurus, Sun, Moon, or Rising. Now we're going to take a look at Gemini, the second sign in the month of May. Remember that Gemini starts in the month of May. And there's a lot going on here for those of you with Gemini rising, right? We have a lot going on in your first house. Many of the Geminis out there, you need to find some balance and security in your life, right? Things are feeling very shaky, off balance. A lot of your focus is in many different places. And so we need to ground ourselves. We need to find this place of balance at this time. And many of you needing to be more expressive, right? There's a lack of confidence, a lack of security that I'm really picking up on here, especially in these uncertain times. Remember that that first card was the Four of Pentacles, where things are off balance, things are off kilter, things are not really feeling the way that they should at this moment. And so there is something big here about needing to find that inner confidence, that inner authority, that inner expression within yourself, and to know that you are safe and you are protected. Again, many of you very much out of balance, very much out of alignment, trying to seek out all of these answers and information outside of yourself. But with justice in reverse here, there's a lot of answers and a lot of truth that comes from deep within. And so there's a lot of inner work here that needs to be done. There's a lot of really just knowing your own confidence and strength and finding the ultimate answers and truth in that. So let's take a look at the Black Moon Astrology and see what we have here for Gemini, Sun, Moon, or Rising, May 2020. So we have a lot going on here for Gemini, Sun, Moon, or Rising. We have your 6th house. And so remember that we talked about how there's too much going on right now, right? Too much thinking, too much questioning, too much seeking for answers. Very much out of balance, out of alignment with all of this seeking and searching. And so there's too much activity going on, especially on a mental level. Remember that the traditional ruler of that 6th house is Virgo. But for those of you with Gemini rising, your ruler of your 6th house is Scorpio, where there is this turbulence. There is this crisis in terms of wanting to get things done, wanting to take on responsibilities. There's a lot going on there. Very, very extreme house for many of you with Gemini rising. And so again, all of this mental activity. We have the 8th house as well, where again, there's a lot of deep introspection that needs to take place, right? We talked about that earlier with Justice and the Queen of Wands. There's a lot of needing to go within and making some major changes and finding that inner strength and power that exists within you. We have the 10th house in reverse, and so there's too much focus here on the world outside of you. This is asking for you to take a look in on the world that exists within you, to do that deep introspection, to take a look and see what needs change, what needs transformation, right? To look deep within. We have both of our feelers here in reverse. Water and fire, both of our feeling elements, right? We have fire, that passion, that desire, that energy, that enthusiasm. And we have water, the sensing, the intuition, the nurturing, the caring, right? So there's a lot here in terms of being out of sync with your feelings, with being human and being expressive and really getting out that true feeling and that true connection, right? A lot of this more so connection to earth and air, right? A lot of getting stuck in your head, getting stuck in this thought process and this worrying that is going on. And so this is calling for you to get back in tune with your feelings, to get back in tune with being human and having these feelings and being expressive and being truly who you are and in your power and connected to those around you. So 3 more cards here for those of you with Gemini, Sun, Moon, or Rising. Big message here. Pluto is in reverse. And so again, there's a deep transformation that needs to take place here. Deep inner work in terms of stepping into your true power, your true authority, truly expressing and holding that energy and that feeling that truly makes you human and makes you who you are. So stepping out of this space of the busy mind, the monkey mind, and overthinking and worrying, and stepping into this space of feeling. And again, speaking of feeling, we have the moon here in reverse, where it is time to feel. It's time to be connected. It's time to go back to your roots. It's time to look at your family and look at your true, deepest emotional connection. So what are you really feeling deep down? Last card here for those of you with Gemini, Sun, Moon, or Rising. We have the 2nd house. And so, again, you need to take a look at your values, your worth. You need to take a look at what is truly of the highest value at this time. Is it this fear and this worry and this need to find answers outside of yourself, or is it in who you are and being who you are truly meant to be? So that was for Gemini, Sun, Moon, or Rising. Now we're going to take a look at the next sign. So for those of you with Cancer, Sun, Moon, or Rising, this is for you. So for Cancer, Sun, Moon, or Rising for May 2020, let's see what we get here. And a lot already coming out here. We have the Fool. You're being asked to take the risk. You're being asked to do what you're afraid of and to take action here in your life. Start something brand new that you have never done before. And to stop thinking that you're not good enough, to stop thinking that you're not able to do what you want to do here. Yes, remember we are in these difficult times here. So many of you in lockdown. But there's something big here for those of you with Cancer, Sun, Moon, or Rising, where there's something big here that you want to do that you're not stepping up to the call to do, right? You're not making that ultimate judgment call to do what your highest calling is. And so, again, with the Fool card here, it's time to take that risk. It's time to do that new thing that you want to accomplish here in your life. And there is a lot to say about all of this Gemini activity that is taking place back in your 12th house, where these suppressed feelings, these suppressed desires, this imagination is sitting back here in this repressed area. And so for many of you, you need to take a look deep within and see what is it that you want to do? What is it that you want to create? What is your imagination calling for you to do at this point? With the Emperor here, this requires confidence. This requires you to step up and to take on that authority, that role within yourself to finally do what you've been holding off on doing here. And it is a choice, right? This is not something that is going to fall in your lap. This is not something that's going to happen on its own here. Two of Swords asking you to make a major decision about whether you are going to finally do this or not. Whether you finally have the courage and the authority within yourself to step up and make this judgment call. Five of Cups, it requires you to let go of the past. It requires you to let go of these past feelings and past experiences so that you can move forward and make this ultimate choice to move into this new direction. And speaking of new directions, we have the Ace of Swords here, where this is the ultimate call to start something new, to start something fresh. This is a new idea. This is a new thought. This is a new innovation. This is a new creative endeavor that you are trying to take on here, where it's time for you to finally go for this. Right, and speaking of going for it, we have the challenge card here, the Knight of Swords. It's time for you to take action. It's time for you to get it done, to push through. And last card here from the Connolly Tarot deck for Cancer, Sun, Moon, or Rising, we have the Four of Wands. What you want to create, what you want to do at this moment is going to ultimately make you happy. It's going to make you feel good. It's going to make you feel secure. It's going to make you feel connected to what is truly of the highest value and purpose. This is worth celebration. This is worth happiness in your life. So let's take a look at the Black Moon Astrology deck for Cancer, Sun, Moon, or Rising. And speaking of creativity, we have the 5th house, creativity. Very interesting, Cancer, how all of our horoscopes are always synchronistic, right? In all of the Cancer horoscopes lately, there has been something big about this synchronicity. And here we have this creativity that we just got finished talking about, where it is time for you to express yourself. It's time for you to be confident in your abilities and to finally do that skill, to finally take on that new idea, that new hobby, that new interest that you want to do in your life. So that was for Cancer, Sun, Moon, or Rising. Now we're going to take a look at Leo. So for those of you who have Leo, Sun, Moon, or Rising, this is for you. So for Leo, Sun, Moon, or Rising, for May 2020. Leo, Sun, Moon, or Rising. So starting off here, we have the Fool card, right? Very similar to Cancer, where there is this new journey, this new experience that needs to unfold here. But there is this feeling of others rejecting your ideas, others rejecting where you are trying to head. There's this block, right? Whether this is a block from other people or a block from your experiences in your life, a block from what is going on around you. With this Four of Cups in reverse, many of you who have Leo rising or Leo sun or moon may also resonate with this. There is ultimately this block that is stopping you from taking on this new career, these new experiences, these new ideas that you want to experience. And so it is time to remove this block. It's time to push through these experiences that are blocking you from doing what you ultimately want to do. So let's take a look at the Black Moon Astrology deck for Leo, Sun, Moon, or Rising for May 2020. So quite a few cards here for those of you with Leo, Sun, Moon, or Rising. We're starting off here with Aries in reverse. where again there is this feeling of not being able to do what you want to do here. There is a block from this passion, from this excitement of pushing forward and expressing yourself. So it's time to take a look at you. It's time to take a look at what is stopping you, what is blocking you at this moment from moving forward. We have the lunar eclipse in reverse. So this inability to change, this inability to move, to make this grand opportunity become your reality. And so again, there is this needing to look within and to look at what are these roadblocks, what is stopping me from making this ultimate change that I'm wanting to make. So many of you here with Leo, Sun, Moon, or Rising, especially those of you with Leo Rising, there are big plans that you are trying to accomplish here. Remember that for those of you with Leo Rising, we're having a lot of this Gemini activity go on in your 11th house, having to do with your hopes, your wishes, your dreams. So there's a lot here that those of you with Leo Rising want to accomplish, right? A lot of long-term goals and a lot of wishes and dreams of what you want to have fulfilled in your life for those of you with Leo Rising. We have Lilith. And so again, there are these deeper feelings, these deeper desires of what you want to do here, but there's a feeling of this being controversial or this being blocked by others, being blocked by society, being blocked by your environment, your experiences. There's something big here of needing to look deep within and find a way to liberate yourself from this block. Find a way to bring out these experiences that you want to bring into your existence. Similar to Cancer, we get creativity. And so once again, there's something big here that needs to be expressed, that needs to be taken on here. Many of you have projects, you have businesses, you have professions, you have hobbies, you have creative endeavors that you want to accomplish here, right? Big goals that those of you with Leo Rising, also those of you with Leo Sun or Moon may resonate with this as well. Big projects that you want to take on. But solar eclipse in reverse. So remember that we just had the lunar eclipse in reverse. And the lunar eclipse is the end result of this solar eclipse, right? The solar eclipse is this ultimate new beginning, and the lunar eclipse is the culmination, the fulfillment, the completion of that process of finally implementing that change into your reality. And so again, there's this calling for you to express, there's this calling for you to push for what you want to experience, what you want to create in this moment. But notice with the solar eclipse that it is this moment of this blackout, right? You can't see through this solar eclipse, but you know that there is a light at the end of the tunnel here with this solar eclipse. And so this is calling for you to step into the unknown. This is calling for you to move forward into a space that you've never been before. This is calling you to do that creative endeavor or that professional opportunity that you want to take on that is a shot in the dark, but there's hope at the end of the tunnel for you. So big call to take on this new project, this new experience, right? Whatever this is for you here, for those of you with Leo Rising. Fire is also in reverse here. And so for many of you again, we had that Aries in reverse at the beginning, where this is a major moment of feeling like you don't have the passion, the action, the energy to push forward to make this your reality. And so, again, you have to tap into this creative energy and this flow so that you can move forward here. You have to see, what are those deeper desires? What is it that I need to face here? These deeper feelings of what you want to accomplish, and push through these blocks that are in your environment. Mercury retrograde in reverse. So for those of you with Leo rising, you feel like you are in a Mercury retrograde period, right? You feel like you can't get anything done. You feel like you have to review everything. You have to go over it one more time, double check it. But the universe is saying that this is an illusion. This is your Mercury retrograde period, right? This is not a Mercury retrograde. And so many of you want to reinvent yourselves. You want to change yourselves. You want to go over things over and over and over again. You want to double check things. You want to look at all the details, all the facts several times over. But this is your moment of acting, right? You have gone through this process of rethinking. You've gone through this process of reevaluating and reinventing yourself for this moment, but this is your time to act. And again, similar to that fire and Aries that were in reverse, we have Mars in reverse, where you feel like you can't take action, you feel like nothing's happening. But this is your time to push through with the energy, the passion, the excitement that you have to make this new creative experience a reality for you. So that was for Leo, Sun, Moon, or Rising. We're going to go ahead and move on here to Virgo, Sun, Moon, or Rising. So for those of you with Virgo Rising, major things happening on the square to your ascendant, right? For many of you with Virgo Rising, you have Gemini back on your midheaven in your 10th house of career, of status, of reputation. So a lot going on up in that house there, a lot of busy activity here. So this is for Virgo, Sun, Moon, or Rising, May 2020. Starting off here with the Six of Swords, where we want to find some kind of way to bring some balance and harmony into life, right? With the Six of Swords, you are trying to find a way to bring yourself back into alignment. You are trying to find a way to find that peace, that harmony, that balance in your life. And so this is where many of you are, for those of you who have Virgo, Sun, Moon, or Rising, is you're trying to find that peace, you're trying to find that harmony, you're trying to find that alignment, you're trying to find that space of where things can come back into balance. And with the Six of Swords, there is really something big here to say for those of you with Virgo, Sun, Moon, or Rising about how things will never be the same for you. Right, major changes that are going on here. And let's take a look at the Black Moon Astrology deck here for Virgo, Sun, Moon, or Rising for May 2020. So similar energy here, right, with air in reverse, where your way of thinking, your way of communicating, your way of connecting to the world around you really is never going to be the same, even though we're in this space here of trying to find this ultimate balance, trying to find this peace of mind, trying to find this space of where things come back into alignment. It's not going to happen, right? We're not going back to the past, to this old space of balance and alignment. And so this is calling ultimately for a new space of this new form of balance, this new form of connection in your life. And we also have, last card here for Virgo, Sun, Moon, or Rising, the ninth house, which remember is all about your faith, your belief, your optimism, travel, adventure, philosophy, higher knowledge, experience, right? Where it's calling for you to take on a new experience in life. It's calling for you to have faith in these new journeys, these new adventures that are ahead of you. Because once again, nothing is going to be familiar. Nothing is going to be the same as it was. So be open to new opportunities. Be open to faith for the future. Be open to what is coming, because this is a brand new space for those of you with Virgo, Sun, Moon, or Rising. So that was for Virgo, Sun, Moon, or Rising. We're going to go ahead and move on here to those of you with Libra, Sun, Moon, or Rising. So for Libra, Sun, Moon, or Rising, May 2020. Starting off here, we have the Queen of Cups. It is time for you to nurture yourself. It is time for you to take care of yourself. Just to allow yourself to feel, allow yourself to be emotional, right? This is a very, very sensitive time that we are in, where a lot of heavy emotions and feelings are coming up. And the universe is saying to you that this is okay, that this is fair for you to feel this way. And so this is a major moment of allowing your emotions to flow, allowing yourself to care for yourself, allowing yourself to be in this space of ultimately nurturing and caring for your needs at this time. Right? And many of you are not trusting your intuition in this area. High Priestess in reverse, where you really need to follow what your gut is telling you. Follow what your intuition, your inner guidance is saying at this moment in terms of taking care of and nurturing yourself. So it's time to act on this now. It is time for you to believe and have faith that it's okay for you to take care of yourself and to take care of your needs at this time, right? This isn't selfish for you to nurture yourself at this time. Knight of Wands, time to move into what you are passionate about, into what makes you happy, what brings you joy in your life. So major moment of self-care for those of you with Libra, Sun, Moon, or Rising. Last of the Connolly Tarot deck here for Libra, Sun, Moon, or Rising. We have the Ten of Swords, where it is time to meditate. It's time to relax. It's time to take care of yourself. It's time for deep introspection. It's time to let go of all of the negativity and the worrying and stress. It's time to just relax and take it easy. So let's take a look at the Black Moon Astrology deck for Libra, Sun, Moon, or Rising, May 2020. First card here, we have Pluto in reverse, where many of you are rejecting your own power, right? And this is transformation card, but I'm definitely going to say for Libra that what I am getting here is dealing with the Pluto aspect of power and control and inner authority, where many of you are not okay with stepping into this true power that lives within you, right? There is this feeling of wanting to give away this power and strength to serve others, right? So there is some major changes that need to take place within, in terms of really taking care of yourself, really putting your needs and your feelings first, and allowing yourself to go through this process. We have the lunar eclipse in reverse. So speaking of transformation, now we're getting into the change card, where you're changing seasons, Libra, right? You're changing seasons in your life. There's this major moment of going through a brand new cycle. And especially when we talk about emotionally, right? There's a lot of feeling here that is changing and shifting. And many of you coming into this more emotional, more sensitive space, where you really need to allow yourself to go through this. You really need to allow yourself to experience the feeling, to go through the transformation, to transition through this moment, and to remember that this is a cycle, this is a phase in your life, and that you will come out of this. Black Moon Lilith, don't reject your feelings. Don't reject your desires. Don't reject that part of you that is buried deep within. And so again, it's time to nurture your feelings. It's time to take care of yourself. It's time to do what brings you joy in your life. So that was for Libra, Sun, Moon, or Rising. Now we're going to move on to Scorpio. So for those of you who have Scorpio, Sun, Moon, or Rising, this is for you. So for Scorpio, Sun, Moon, or Rising, for May 2020, starting off here, we have the Hanged Man in reverse. It's time to let go of the past. Many of you here with Scorpio, Sun, Moon, or Rising are holding on to something from the past here, right? Whether this is an old feeling, an old belief system, an old state of being. It is time to let go. Let's pull another card here from the Connolly Tarot deck for Scorpio, Sun, Moon, or Rising. Two cards came up for you, Scorpio. We have the Six of Swords, where it's time to find a way to bring in some peace and harmony into your life. It's time to nurture your thoughts and make sure that your thoughts are positive, that they are uplifting, that they can help you and motivate you to move forward, right? And so there's a lot here for those of you with Scorpio, Sun, Moon, or Rising, where many of you can be in a very dark and cynical place right now, very negative, very stressed out, right? And this is not for all of you, but for many of you out there, this is a challenge here of really coming into this space of positive thinking, of understanding that you can come into this space of peace and harmony, even with everything that is going on outside of you. We have the King of Pentacles in reverse. It's time for you to master being stable, being secure within yourself, right? This is a time of finding that ultimate balance and that ultimate strength and security that is within you. And so this is a major moment of nurturing and creating that abundance in your life, that abundance of joy, that abundance of happiness, that abundance of positivity within you. And so it's time to find your stable ground where you're willing to let go of the past, where you're willing to step into this space of positivity. So let's take a look at the Black Moon Astrology deck. For those of you with Scorpio, Sun, Moon, or Rising. First card here we have is Mercury Retrograde in reverse. So many of you overthinking things, stuck in this negative space of going back, going over things. Again, remember we talked about that Hangman in reverse, where we're not willing to let go of the past. So many of you are still stuck in this review period of overthinking things, revisiting things, going over things, right? So we need to start to come into this space of moving forward. You have the 9th house. So you have to have that optimism. You have to have, remember we talked about earlier with the 6 of Swords, that positivity in order to move forward. This is calling for you to be faithful, optimistic, to have a belief system that motivates you and drives you and pushes you to move forward. Last card, 4th house. It's calling you to come back to what truly nurtures and serves you, to this true ultimate connection that is truly nurturing and fulfilling, and letting go of these attachments to these thoughts and feelings that are not fulfilling, that are of detriment, that are soulless, right? Soulless. Very Scorpio, right? Scorpio looking for this deeper emotional fulfillment. So very Scorpio of me to say that many of you here with Scorpio, Sun, Moon, or Rising are attaching to things that are soulless. So you want to attach to things that are soulful, things that are emotionally fulfilling, things that are of true connection, that is of true value and worth to you. So that was for Scorpio, Sun, Moon, or Rising. Now we're going to go ahead and move on to Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, or Rising. So this is for Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, or Rising, May 2020. First card for Sagittarius is the 5 of Swords in reverse. Many of you trying to change things on your own. Trying to change the past, trying to change the story. And major lesson that you're getting hit in the face with here, Sagittarius, especially as this North node is entering into your opposite sign. So you're going to have the South node in your first house for 2 years here. For those of you with Sagittarius rising, major lesson that you're getting smacked in the face with is that you cannot change things on your own. Right? Major lesson about allowing others to help you. Allowing yourself to be a part of the group. Allowing yourself to ask for help. Allowing others to help and assist you in making these changes in your life. And there's a lot going on in your relationship house, Sagittarius. So this is time for you to open yourself up to the idea of being in a relationship, being a part of a group, interacting with others, allowing others to come in and help you, with the North Node sitting in your relationship house, right? In your house of the people. Hard lesson for those of you with Sagittarius, as you are very much about freedom and independence and doing it all on your own, taking it all on. But there's something big here about needing to connect with others, needing to allow others to come in, whether this is talking about a romantic relationship that you are about to get involved with, or this is talking about a new friendship or allowing others to help, being a part of a group. There's something big here about needing to let go of this notion that you have to take it all on your own, and that you can change the past all on your own. By the way, major lesson here that you cannot change the past, but you can create the future the way that you want it to look. 10 of Swords. Stop focusing on the past and focus on the future. It's time to let go of these old ideas about what you can do to change past experiences, what you can do to change these moments that didn't go as planned or didn't go the way that they should have, to help you in being successful. This no longer matters. This is the universe asking you to let go of the past and to start to look towards the future. Right, which is very much Sag rising. For those of you who have Aquarius sitting in your third house, very future minded. So use that future mind that you have to look forward to what you can create moving forward. Time to let go of what you could do or what you could have done to change past experiences. First card for Sagittarius, the fifth house, right? We've been seeing this a lot. We saw this for Cancer. We saw this for Leo. A lot of people here trying to start new projects, trying to start to work on new things here. And remember, for those of you with Sag rising, many of you have Aries sitting in your fifth house, where you're very passionate. You're very enthusiastic. You're very excited about what you can create, what you can enjoy here with your creative abilities and talents. So with all that energy that you have to create something new, to create something enjoyable and pleasurable in your life, it's time to put your focus into this and not into those past experiences that did not go the way that you wanted them to go. And for many of you, again, relationship stuff that is coming up here, remember that Venus retrograde and the North Node and all of these other Gemini placements are going to be sitting in your house of other people. And so there's a lot coming up here for those of you, especially with Sagittarius rising, where there's a lot of romance, there's a lot of opportunity for dating, there's a lot of this new love story that's coming in for those of you who are single. And for those of you who are in relationships, there is this new opportunity to add some fun, some creativity, some excitement into your love life. And for those of you who are single, who are not looking for a relationship or will not be entering a relationship, big time to use your creative abilities and skills and talents. We have the North Node in reverse. So again, many of you are running in the opposite direction. You're trying to change the past. You're trying to do it all on your own. And remember that that North Node is going to be sitting in your house of other people. And so as we come into this new lunar cycle, especially for those of you with Sagittarius rising, this is a major moment of moving away from your identity and how you should appear and look to others, and moving more towards connection, more towards relationships, more towards how you can connect to others and how others can help you in partnership and teamwork. Right? So the focus is off of you, Sagittarius, and is on how you can relate to other people. And so we have to let go of this past experience that could not change, that could not go the way that you wanted it to. There's nothing left to save or salvage here. This is ultimately calling for you to move into the direction of your life's purpose and life's calling, which now in this space here, from now until 2022, is all about relationships. Speaking of relationships, we have fourth house roots. This is time to be connected with others. This is time to have emotionally fulfilling connections, especially, right, for those of you who have Sag rising, especially if you've had these connections that were more superficial, that were more based on intellectual conversation. It's time to go deeper. It's time to have these more emotionally fulfilling connections here. Last card is connected to you, Sagittarius, the ninth house, faith, right? This is your house, right? For those of you who have Sagittarius rising, you have Leo, so you feel like you are the king of being faithful and optimistic. This is your very house. And so there's something big here where, yes, you have the ability to be faithful and optimistic in what you can do and accomplish. But this is calling for a different kind of faith. This is calling for your faith in other people. This is calling for your faith in opening yourself up to others. This is a call for faith in newfound relationships. This is a call for faith in putting your expression and your abilities out there for others to see. So the focus, the spotlight, Sagittarius, is no longer on you. It is on your relationships. So that was for Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, or Rising. Now we're going to go ahead and take a look at Capricorn, Sun, Moon, or Rising. So for those of you who have Capricorn, Sun, Moon, or Rising, this is for you for Capricorn, Sun, Moon, or Rising, May 2020. Capricorn, Sun, Moon, or Rising, May 2020. First card for Capricorn, Sun, Moon, or Rising is your very card, the Hermit, right? This is a very Capricorn related card here, where you are being called to go on an individual journey within yourself, right? And we talked a lot about this in the previous horoscope. So if you watch the Capricorn horoscope for April 2020, we talked about how there was a lot of relaxation, a lot of inner work, a lot of looking deep within, and to simmer down this restlessness to have to do something, to have to work, to have to do something outside of yourself, that the focus was within. And this theme continues here coming into May, where for those of you with Capricorn rising, Pluto and Jupiter remain in your first house. So you're still going through this deep inner transformation, this deep inner experience here with Jupiter and Pluto sitting in your first house. And remember that Pluto is retrograde now, that we are here in May. So this is a very, very deep inner work that you have to do here. So you are on this solo journey to dive deep within yourself. Page of Swords, make opportunity for new experiences. Make opportunity for new connections. Make opportunity for new truth to enter into your life. And for many of you, this new connection, this newfound experience is through spirit, right? Is through connecting to your guides and your angels and your guardians. This is a major moment here for Capricorn, Sun, Moon, or Rising to look deep within yourself. And to have the faith to do this. We have the Fool card, where you have to be willing to take this journey. Last of our cards here in reverse, as there's a lot of inner work that does need to be done here. The Tower card is in reverse. And so this is a major moment of rebuilding yourself. Remember, Pluto is retrograde. Pluto, the planet of death, of transformation, of destruction, of deep soul work that needs to be done, is in your house of identity. And so this is a major moment of restructuring yourself. This is a major moment of ego death. This is a major moment of breakdown of self to come into this brand new space here within you. Next, we have the Strength card in reverse. And so for many of you, this is a moment of vulnerability, big time, as you are facing yourself for the first time here and not dealing with the outside world. Remember that Capricorn rules the world. It rules career, it rules status, it rules your public image, right? But this is pulling you back into a deeper space of introspection within yourself, within your deepest connection. And this requires your strength. This requires you to be open and vulnerable to the experience, which is dealing with a lot of strength and confidence to take this on. And so continue to stay strong during this journey, Capricorn, as you are going deep within and doing all of this deep inner work within yourself. And really, this work is here to find who you are, and not this public identity, not this image of who you are, but who are you really down to a deep soul level. And so there's a lot here in terms of finding that inner child, that inner happiness, that inner joy, that inner expression that lives within you with the Sun card here. Last two cards from the Connolly Tarot deck for Capricorn, Sun, Moon, or Rising. We have the Hanged Man and the Eight of Pentacles in reverse. Again, we talked about this in the last horoscope for Capricorn. It's time to let go of these duties and responsibilities that are hindering you from doing the work that is necessary, these distractions, right? So this is not talking about the work that needs to be done. This is talking about the extra work that you are trying to pile on top to fill in this void of being stuck at home or not having anything to do here, right? So similar to what we talked about before, instead of putting your energy into all of this extra work and responsibility, it is time to put your energy into letting go completely and trusting in God and doing this inner work within yourself, fully facing yourself completely, right? So this ultimate moment of surrender needs to take place here deep within yourself. So let's take a look at the Black Moon Astrology deck for Capricorn, Sun, Moon, or Rising for May 2020. Last card, Moon in reverse. So again, you have to connect to the deeper parts of yourself. And remember that the moon is in detriment in Capricorn, right? The moon wants connection, it wants feeling versus wanting to work hard, wanting to have a status, wanting to be in the public. There's something big about coming out of your outside world and back into the deeper feeling that lives within you and facing yourself, doing that deeper inner work, really finding what is truly emotionally fulfilling deep down within you, Capricorn. So that was for Capricorn, Sun, Moon, or Rising. Now we're going to take a look at Aquarius, Sun, Moon, or Rising for May 2020. So Aquarius, Sun, Moon, or Rising, May 2020. Aquarius, Sun, Moon, or Rising, May 2020. First card, Aquarius, is the Three of Wands. It is time to focus less on teamwork and being a part of the group and more on yourself and how you can move ahead along this journey in your life. It's time to let go of needing someone else to support you, needing someone else to hold you up through this process. This is something that you can accomplish here on your own. This time of taking this individual journey, of taking this individual path, and really trusting in the true strength and power that lives within you, Aquarius. And that is followed by the challenge card, Knight of Swords here, where, again, it's time for you to take action. It's time for you to push through, right? It's time for you to realize that you can do this for yourself, that you don't need someone to lean on or to baby you or to hold your hand through this process, that you have the power and the strength and the individuality to push through this moment. So let's take a look at the Black Moon Astrology deck for Aquarius, Sun, Moon, or Rising, May 2020. Fourth house, roots. Interesting card for Aquarius, right? Aquarius, very intellectual, very detached type of energy here, where this is calling for you to connect to your feelings. It's calling for you to connect to your passion. It's calling for you to look deep within and connect to who you are. And remember, we talked about that inner passion, that inner authority, that inner strength, that inner individuality that you have, and using that to motivate and drive you. So this is not a time to use this Aquarian intellectual detachedness to try to analyze and try to figure this out through thinking. This is a time to connect and tap into that feeling and that desire and that passion that lives within you. Very, very creative time for you to put yourself out there, to be expressive, to be passionate. Remember, all of this Gemini activity is going on in your 5th house. It's a big moment of tapping into that passion, into that feeling that exists within you, Aquarius. So that was for Aquarius, Sun, Moon, or Rising. Now we're going to take a look at Pisces, Sun, Moon, or Rising. So for Pisces, Sun, Moon, or Rising, May 2020. Pisces, Sun, Moon, or Rising, May 2020. Nine of Swords in reverse. Pisces, you feel like you have lost a lot. You feel like you have been through a lot. You feel like this is this moment of emptiness and not having everything that you want at this moment. So there's a major feeling of loss here. And remember that for those of you with Pisces rising, we're talking about all of this heavy change and transformation that you have gone through sitting back in your 11th house, right? So for many of you, you may have felt like you've lost a lot of friends, you've lost a lot of contacts, you've lost a lot of what you hoped for to have long-term in your life, right? So there's this major feeling of loss here, especially for those of you with Pisces rising. And even a loss of power, as Saturn and Mars have spent all of this time and are spending all of this time back in your 11th house. Right? Now, keep in mind that on the 13th, Mars will enter into your 1st house. And so there is something big about this passion, this energy, and this power and authority that is coming into your focus. But with this, there is this major feeling of loss. There's this major feeling of regret for some of you. This major feeling of not having everything work out the way that you wanted it to. And so it's time to let go of this feeling. It's time to let go of these thoughts about the past, about what you've been through, about these major moments of losing people and losing opportunities and chances and losing what you wanted to experience. So let's take a look here at the Black Moon Astrology deck for Pisces, Sun, Moon, or Rising for May 2020. We have the Sun, where you need to find that true passion and creativity and energy and life and happiness and joy within you to cure this moment of loss, to cure this moment of pain, of suffering, of this moment of not getting what you wanted, to clear out this old chapter here is really to step into your inner child. Right? And for many of you with Pisces rising, you care about this, right? You have Cancer in your 5th house. You care about your inner child. You care about your expression. That is nurturing to you. And so there's something big here about healing yourself that requires going back to your childhood, going back to your expression, going back to your creativity. right? And remember that Gemini is sitting back in your fourth house. And so, again, many of you needing to go back to that childhood, needing to go back to those family experiences to connect to those closest to you with all of this activity going on in your fourth house. Last card here for Pisces, Sun, Moon, or Rising. We have the first house, the body. So again, remember that Mars is going to be entering into your first house. And for many of you with Neptune sitting in your first house, even though this is your natural ruler, there is something here to say about Neptune sitting here in your first house for all of this time here, that especially as it's getting to these last degrees of Pisces before it retrogrades back, that there can be this great feeling of confusion, this great feeling of loss, this great feeling of fear, of illusion, of separation from others, right? And as Mars comes in here, it gives you this authority, it gives you this passion, this determination to express yourself, to be straightforward, to be interactive, and to really go after what it is that you want in life. And so this is really taking a look at, and especially for those of you of Pisces rising who are dealing with illness, dealing with weakness, dealing with loss, of really coming back into your body and taking care of, making sure that you are happy and bringing this joy and life and excitement back into your life, as this can have issues and effects on your physical body. Remember that Pisces is very much a energy of surrender, and this is in your first house of your body, right? So this is really needing to, as you're going through this moment of loss, of pain, of fear, of things not going your way, of really making sure that you are exercising, that you are taking care of your diet, that you are doing what is needed. Some of you meditation, right? Doing what is needed to take care of your physical vessel. So that was for Pisces, Sun, Moon, or Rising. Now we're going to go ahead and move on to the last sign here, Aries. So this is for Aries, Sun, Moon, or Rising for May 2020. The first card here we have is the Eight of Swords in reverse. Many of you are in this space of confusion, of doubt, of fear, of loss, and it's internal, right? This is in your head. This is not actually happening in your reality. This is an illusion. And remember that Chiron and Lilith have spent a great deal of time in your first house. And so you have had to deal with a lot of ego deaths, a lot of wounds, a lot of fears, a lot of insecurities, a lot of confusion, a lot of complication, a lot of deeper feelings coming to the surface. And so there's a lot of deep inner transformation that needs to take place in terms of your way of thinking, your way of being, your way of looking at life itself, right? Your perspective is a little foggy, a little cloudy in terms of what you are seeing, especially those of you who have Aries rising. And so now it is time to make space for new feeling, to make space for new expression, new joy, new happiness, for you to allow yourself to let go of these old feelings, right? That many of you may not understand, many of you may not understand, many of you may be lost and confused and trying to figure out these feelings that you have been through, but it is a time of just allowing it to flow so that you can step into this new space of true feeling in your life. So let's go ahead and take a look at the Black Moon Astrology deck for Aries, Sun, Moon, or Rising. Last card for you, Aries. We have the Yod in reverse. And for those of you who are not familiar with astrology, the Yod is a formation that is formed by a sextile and two quincunxes, forming a triangle that looks a lot like a wedge, right? This is considered the finger of God or the finger of destiny. For those of you who have this in your chart or have transits with this happening, this is a moment of major destined action that needs to take place and needs to be fulfilled in your life, but it comes through facing challenges and difficulties. And for those of you who are interested in knowing more about Yods, feel free to leave a comment down below, and I will make a future video on Yods. But this is a major moment of the finger of destiny, right? This is a destined purpose, a destined calling from God that comes through facing these challenges and difficulties. An energy that I'm very familiar with. I have a Yod in my chart personally, where this is really calling for you, Aries, to work through your own challenges and difficulties and to realize that you have the tools and the abilities to work through this so that you can create this major destined magical moment, right? Because for those of you with Aries, especially Aries rising, but some of you may feel this if you are an Aries sun or moon, that you have a major calling here to heal the collective, as you do have Chiron and have had Chiron sitting in your first house along with Lilith for a very long time now. So a lot of inner work that needs to be done so that you can help others through their process. So that was your May 2020 horoscopes. Thanks so much for joining. If you enjoyed this, feel free to leave a like as well as a comment. If you are new to this channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button as well as the notification bell so that you don't miss out on any new content. If you are interested in seeing any kind of positive motivational advice, psychic wisdom, insights, or you'd like to share it, then go ahead and feel free to join the group Astro Metaphysical Love and Light on Facebook. I want to thank you all once again for joining, and I hope you all have a great day, and I will see you in the next video.